Welcome to the latest episode of Gallifrey Pirate Radio, where we're currently reviewing Series 7B of Doctor Who. I am your host, David Beauchamp, and I'm joined with...
Drew Meyer!
And Angela Pritchett.
And we are going to be talking about Cold War.
Yes, we are.
One I'm very, very excited about. So, initial impressions of Cold War. We'll start with you, Drew.
I liked it.
That's pretty short and sweet.
It was a good episode. I enjoyed it. There were parts I didn't like about it. There were parts I liked about it. But overall, win or lose, I'm going with a big win. It was good. It was a good episode. It was fun.
I also liked it. It was fun to watch.
Okay. Just project a little bit more.
Okay!
Well, not that loud.
I liked it! It was good!
And as
You're scaring the cats, Angela.
Yeah.
Actually, no. It's just
No, I'm
that
not.
cat seems completely unfazed
No, I'm
by what's
not.
going on.
Yes, and as I've mentioned, I was a big fan of this episode, namely for the fact that we got the Ice Warriors back.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with what we did not like about this episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, do a little different,
Sure.
a little spicy and surprising on the show. Yeah, we'll start with you, Drew.
There were some plot points I didn't care for.
Yeah.
On the whole, I thought it was a good episode. It was
Yeah.
a strong episode. It's a very much classic Troughton-esque base under siege episode.
Yeah.
That being said, small points. It wasn't claustrophobic enough for me. I know it's supposed to be in a submarine. It had a little bit of extra space, which not a big deal until Skaldak gets out of his armor and starts running around. It was just one of those. It took me. I was like, they have that much more ceiling to get another creature up there. Speaking of other creatures, hello, that is my knee. Bad, not great science. If you're all standing in water and you cattle prod somebody,
Yeah.
you're gonna get shocked. We had the same thing kind of happened in Dalek in Series 1. I know this is the worst thing to complain about with the Doctor Who episode. I was not impressed with the rubber hands of Skaldak out of the armor.
Yeah.
So.
I didn't even pay those any mind. But I'll agree with you. Now that you mention it, yeah, it really wasn't claustrophobic enough. It seemed like it was a pretty big set when it should have been much more confined and space being a factor.
I mean, those are not really
No.
not bad arguments. I'm just like, you want to know what I didn't like?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I hadn't thought about that, but this is one roomy sub, especially for being back in the 80s.
It's fairly roomy. Oh, and this is this is a blanket dislike for almost every episode this season. Is if it could have just been 5 to 10 minutes longer.
Yeah.
I found there's some really good story elements that were touched on that didn't get expounded on. That it wasn't worth a double episode.
Yeah.
So either drop those elements or and there's that for every single one of these episodes. So.
Yeah. So, Angela, what did you not like about Cold War?
I'm agreeing with you with the hands thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I did find the hand doing this.
Yeah.
And not doing much else than this. Kinda.
Yeah, the kind of the sensual massage.
Maybe if it was like, it
Squeezier.
actually had a little bit of movement more so to it. But yeah, the hand. And yeah, I think it could have probably been a little bit more claustrophobic. I don't know, I haven't seen it in a few weeks now because I've been watching all the other episodes, so
I watched it
I need to
last night.
rewatch it.
I rewatched it. So
I think my biggest complaint with this episode is I would have liked to see Claire actually sing Hungry Like a Wolf. I wanted to see her sing the whole song.
yeah.
Well, they didn't actually sing it, he just kind of hummed it.
Yeah, I
and said
know.
the name. But probably also, you can use 10% of something, and it's not considered breaking copyright laws.
Gotcha. That's
So-
good. That's cool to know.
Yeah, but I mean, with it being Doctor Who and the BBC, I don't see anybody say no right now. Now with the popularity of Doctor Who.
Still money, but yeah. And it would have taken a little bit more time. I mean, again, if you could have extended the the episode by quite a bit, I wouldn't have a problem with a big musical number.
Well, I don't want a music. I just wanted to see a little bit more. But now I do really want to see a karaoke sing now.
Oh, yeah,
At
that
some
would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
You speak perfect Russian, but sometimes I have no idea what you're saying.
Oh, that was another
Yeah,
thing.
it actually translated her voice.
There was a... Okay, so the TARDIS translates what they say. The TARDIS left. And I know it's kind of a permanent implant on their brain.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's it's either the TARDIS translates it or the Doctor translates it. There's Baker says it's a gift of the Time Lords.
It kind of reminds me of the Farscape where they got shot with something.
Yeah,
All of a sudden they
haven't
can
watched.
say all the...
Well, I mean, with
Oh, right.
Curran Who, it's always been the
It's
TARDIS.
been the TARDIS. Well, the TARDIS leaves because of the HADs, and I'll
Right.
mark that in the category of things I did like about it. So we, as an audience, can understand what people are saying even when the Doctor or Clara are not there.
Right.
I actually would have liked to have seen people speaking in Russian. I would have found it to be a little bit more, because not only do they not speak Russian, they don't speak with any kind of accent. And
I will say that did put me out a little, because I was expecting at least a Russian accent.
not a lot. I mean, this is
Yeah.
not something that made me dislike the episode. I liked the episode just fine. I didn't love it. I liked it, but quite a bit.
I mean, it's. I think it might be my favorite so far of this season.
Gotcha.
But let's since we are sort of skirting around the topic of what we liked about this episode. Let's start with Angela. What did you dig about this episode?
I loved the professor doctor guy. Thought he was really funny, and the fact that he was just rocking out to the tunes of the 80s
Yeah.
was very amusing.
David Warner's pretty cool.
And then, let's see here, what else? I love Jenna Louise Coleman's reactions and her facial expressions.
Mm-hmm.
So when she's like, am I speaking Russian? I'm speaking How am I speaking Russian?
I'll tell you later.
So I really like that, and then I love her outfits.
Yes.
I love her outfits.
Yeah, she did. I'm assuming that they're going back to the place between every episode and picking.
Well, yeah, that's the way they've made it seem like.
Except for this episode. This is the only episode where, not the only episode, but this is one of 2 or 3 episodes where we don't see them at the end of the episode go back to the home.
But you kind of get that after school adventure feeling.
Yeah.
Like that she's just kind of at the end of the day she's just chilling out waiting for him.
Yeah. It's maybe not a permanent member of the TARDIS team yet.
Yeah.
She might not have a key.
Well, every time she almost gets a key, she dies.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. We can talk about that one. I liked Warner quite a bit. Great character. Would have liked to have seen more, or had something a little bit more specific for him to do, other than kind of be Warner. I mean, he was neat. So I'm not really sure what he was doing on the ship. We thought we found a mammoth. The way he says, yes, it's a mammoth, originally made me think that he knew it was an ice warrior inside. And it's played off like he didn't, but it had this feeling like he knew, and I was like, ooh, there's something kind of insidious.
I got the same feeling. I mean, I initially got the same feeling, because I mean, it's obvious that it's not. Because I mean, I gotta say, I do like that opening shot, or that scene. I mean, it felt very John Carpenter's The Thing.
Oh, there is so much The Thing in this episode, and I understand for the point of the story, you have to get him out of the ice. If you're not going to show them find him, you have to show them getting them out of the ice. And obviously, that block of ice is not mammoth-sized. It could be baby mammoth-sized,
No.
But you have that weird thing. You have to get him out of the ice, and we have the kind of random guy who's deciding, I'm not going to wait until we get back to Russia. I'm going to melt it now, which is a dumb idea, but it had to get done. I'm willing to suspend that disbelief. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. We were talking about things we liked.
I do like that the one question that the doctor professor guy had for Clara about the future was, do they break up?
Yeah.
Does Ultra Wolf break up?
Ultravox.
Now, I have a question.
There we go.
Is that a real band?
I was just thinking that. This is not a band that I'm familiar with. It doesn't mean it's not. I'm just... I was a teenager in the 80s for only a very small amount of time.
This episode was set the year I was born.
I feel old. It's not that I dislike 80s music. I do. I'm not as familiar with it. But I will say this. One of the things I liked about it, this is a really good example of Gatiss' craft. And I'm trying to think now, has Gatiss ever written a story that takes place in the future?
The Ultravox was a British band.
Okay, so they were. I think Gatiss all does past stories.
Yeah, I mean,
So the Unquiet Dead is a Victorian piece.
Yeah.
Victory of the Daleks, Idiot's Lantern. I'm forgetting one.
The Crimson Horror.
Yeah, but I'm thinking ones
Yeah.
that we have already happened.
Didn't he do Dinosaurs?
No, that's
No, that was...
no.
Chibnall.
Yeah.
I know there's another one. I know that, but they're all previous ones, and he has a really good grasp of setting the mood of a time period, which I think is his really strongest quality. And it was neat having to try to explain what the Cold War was to Clara, who obviously was not really alive at that point in time.
Born 3 years later.
Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. I liked that. I love the actor who played the captain, who's also on Game of Thrones, whose name is Davros, I think, or something on the Game of Thrones. There's so many characters on the Game of Thrones. I'm a Doctor Who fan. I'm barely keeping up with all the other popular fiction that's going on TV.
There's been lots of crossovers between characters in Doctor Who from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Dinah Rigg too, but we'll talk about that one later. Yeah, I liked this episode. I thought Grand Marshal Skaldak was very cool. I liked everything they did updating the Ice Warriors. I didn't necessarily like them out of his armor. I liked the fact that he got out of his armor, but I didn't like the CGI Ice Warrior. I didn't hate it. I just didn't like it. There was nothing about it that went woohoo.
I liked the ship at the end.
The Ice Warrior proper spaceship.
Night Terrors.
Night Terrors, yes, yeah, Night Terrors. All right, Night Terrors is a contemporary piece, so I guess it's his only contemporary piece, which, Night Terrors is okay. I thought it was kind of weak, but I didn't hate it.
Were creepy.
It was creepy. I specifically watched Night Terrors about 1 o'clock in the morning with the lights off, but it set a good mood. I felt like I was in a tenement building in London, and I didn't want to be there, so that was cool. Yeah.
And for me, the big thing I liked about this episode, Ice Warrior. I mean, I'm a huge classic Who fan, and just to get the Ice Warriors back finally, because I really dig those during the trial. I love those Troughton episodes. Some of them I've only heard, but yeah, I know I was very, very pleased with the return of the Ice Warriors. The mystery of Clara. Do you think it progressed any further in this episode or not?
No. And I was actually okay with that. And it was funny because we had talked about either give us some more information or give us less information. And this one was
a story.
It was kind of a Clara light episode. Though I think it was well done, like very well done.
Yeah. What do you? And this is just a question. Do you think Gatiss is in on who Clara is?
I think they all have an idea because they're kind of fitting some of the episodes together.
Or is that just, Moffat saying this has to be put in? But, I mean, Gatiss has done so much in 7B. Do you think he has any foreknowledge of who Claire is going to turn out to be for Moffat?
Oh, I would bet money on it. I think since the two of them work together to write Sherlock, I'm sure they've bounced notes off of each other. But again, and I don't work in the industry, so I don't know, but I'd assume that they write a script, they sit down, and they try to figure out how it's going to fit in the overall story arc. They talk to the script editor, and
I'm pretty sure that they at least say, this is what we have planned for this character, this is how we want her character to act, and this is how we want her to be like, just fits, those specific mannerisms or whatnot.
Sure.
Into how you write her. So you don't get one person writing her this way and then she's totally different over here.
Well, I mean, that's why you also have Moffat there, because I'm pretty sure he has to sign off on all the scripts anyway.
Yeah, but, I mean, it would still be one thing where he would get a script and he'd be completely rewrite it. It could be.
Is there anything else you want to say about this episode before we go to rating it?
No, I'm good. No, actually, no, I take that back. I think it was incredibly well directed and well acted. And again, blanket statement. I have not been disappointed by Matt Smith or Jenna Louise Coleman in any of these episodes of the entire season, and Douglas McKinnon did an excellent job directing this. They captured the tension and the feel of the submarine, even if I have my complaints about the interior proper, the model work that they put together. Just hats off to oh god, it's Douglas McKinnon? McKinnon, I believe. And whoever the director is, he did a great job. And I really, watching it, I think the second and third time, I enjoyed it. And I watched it, these last 2 times I watched it without commercials.
Yeah.
Because the first time we saw it on BBC America. And this is the last of the episodes that I've watched on BBC America. Everything else I've been watching on disc. So yeah, that was my last thoughts.
Any last thoughts about the episode?
No, I talked a lot about what I liked and what I didn't like, so thought it was fun.
And once again, we're getting, pieces of homage to the various Doctors. This one was definitely homage to the second Doctor.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Especially with the device to remove the TARDIS from a dangerous situation.
Yeah, the HADs. We haven't seen the HADs since Robert Holmes' The Crotons in 1960. It's either 8 or 9. I want to say 1968, but it could be 1969. So.
Okay, so how many derpy TARDISes would you give this episode?
I'm going to give it 3.5 derpy TARDISes.
3.5%.
I have to give it a solid 4 for me. Just because of nostalgia's sake, with this especially being one of the creatures and things that I like. So yeah, that is the Ice Warriors. Or sorry, not the Ice Warriors. Cold War. And so this is Gallifrey Pirate Radio signing out. Peace.